It is. Thank you for coming with me. Give me a few moments, please, and make sure no wild animals attack me from behind. I told you both I would keep my promise. You're free now. I'll never forget what you both taught me. I'm gonna be okay. I love you. Can I help you with something? Don't say anything yet. Just kiss me.
What is going on, everyone? I hope you are well. Today we're going to go over a scene including an idle package. So the package will be travel to use idle. So that's what we're going to control on. So making a scene so that you go and use an idle marker. Now an idle marker can be multiple things. It can be an idle marker you lay down. A forge is an idle marker. The grinding stone is an idle marker. A chair is an idle marker. All these different things are idle markers. So you can see when you open them up in the creation kit, you can see certain things in there. It'll show like a human being sitting down or an NPC sitting down. That's an idle marker. That's the part you're going to want to click on. But I'm going to show you how this scene was created. So this was already created in Dirtyborn. So the first thing we're going to need when we open up whatever quest you're using is we're going to need to make the NPC that is going to use the scene, which is Gellis in this one. So allow reserved, essential, unique actor, Gellis Barkwing, and then name it. We're going to put this package in later on, but right now, you can click in here and just click OK if you want, whatever you want to do. Hit enter, like that. And then from there, we're going to create the scene. So in the scene, the first one you want to right click here, and you want a new actor. Click new actor and add the alias you chose for the scene. That'll pop up. From there, right click in here, add phase to the end. For this one, I have 4 phases. So you'd want to click phase to the end 4 times. From in there, you're going to right click in here, go to new action, click package. Now the package in this one, as you can see, is travel and use idle. That's what we want. The place to travel to is going to be here. So I want to travel to the idle marker. So in here you can see it's in wilderness, it's in trenchant, but whatever idle you're going to use, wherever it is, you got to find it, click select reference, and go in and double click it so it shows it where it is, and it will put it in there automatically. Now from here I'm going to show you where this is. In here, this is on the Sea of Ghosts, and if I was to spin around for a second so you can look, I have that. That's a trigger box to trigger the quests to move forward so you talk to Gellis. We'll see if we can expand this box out a little bit, and we can, so you can see what's going on. You can see the whole thing from up here, the whole area of what we're doing. But click on this. Well, we'll click on something else in here, just to get ourselves to move a little bit better. You can see right here, this is the Shrine of Talos. This is down on the Sea of Ghosts. It's sent up on the cliff. It's got candles. So what happens is, and all we're working on is the scene. This is a trigger box I created here. Added in here. And what will happen is when you walk through this trigger box, it moves the stage forward. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on that later, but right now, once we get in here, it'll move the stage to where I want it. that is where my idle marker is. That's the one I needed. So that's the one we're going to in this package. Now, again, an idle marker can be a forge. It can be an armor station. It can be the tanning rack. It can be a chair. It can be a cooking station. Anything that shows that you use an idle on is an idle marker. So you click OK here when you got what you want. And keep the radius at 0. Because when they get to that idle marker, you're going to want that to go that way. So then you can click OK. And when you get out of here, you should probably save your work. Because this is a complicated scene. Because there's a lot to this. If you forget one step, it can really become a pain in the ass. And it can be frustrating. Now keep in mind, sometimes when you guys ask me a question on YouTube and I try to answer it, I'm not at the computer. I can't look it up. So a lot of times I'm at work on my phone and I'll read it, and what comes to mind is what will come through. I'm not trying to throw anybody off on a tutorial. If there's any way I can help you, I will help. But if I'm at work or something and I can't look it up, I'm just going off the top of my head. So just please keep that in mind. So click OK. Make sure your package goes through all 4 phases. And it will stretch across here. Now the first thing I did, because of the distance she had to walk, I added a 15-second timer below the package. So I clicked into here, and then I added a timer. Now on this timer, you can see the 15 seconds. That gives her, sometimes you're going to test it out in game, how much time it's going to take her to get to that idle package. Because I don't want, what that'll do, the package will start, but before it goes to phase 2, you'll wait 15 seconds. The reason that is I want her in the water and not saying it on the way. So she's already knelt down, and what appears to be she spread the ashes. And I told you both I would keep my promise. You're free now. This was her when you take her to the quest to go up and spread the ashes of her parents on the Sea of Ghosts. So that's all the dialogue is in here. Add your dialogue in the scene, and I'm sure by now if you're watching this, you know how to add dialogue. Right click, go to here and add dialogue. And then from there, I want her to wait, and the package will stay, so she's already using the idle. Then from here, I wanted another 8 seconds before she said something else. I didn't want it to be back to back to back. I wanted it to seem like she was thinking. Give that illusion that she's thinking. And the next thing she'll say when I added the dialogue in phase 3, says, I'll never forget what you both taught me. I'm going to be okay. And from there, click OK out of there. And this is just creating the scene. Click OK. I'm Xing out of it because I've already done this. And so I'm just trying to break it down so you can see how it's done. From there, after she says that, I have action 6. Another 8 seconds. Again, I want this to pause. I want it to add more of a realism to it, to the scene. So then, the last thing she says before she goes, she says, I love you. And after that, you see she says I love you there. I have another timer for 2 seconds. Now there's a reason being. If you notice, even though we're doing a 4-screen at the end, there's no 4-screen package in here. That's because we're going to do that with a stage change on the alias. That is the best way to do it to get it to fire. So we're going to close this out. At this point, you should save your work. And I know this might be going a little faster than normal. If it is, just pause and go from there. I'm just trying to break this down because I'm on limited time because I got, 5 weeks now? 6 weeks to finish Dirtyborn, and it's going to be close. So, from here, we're going to open the quest back up. Now we're going to go to player dialogue. The stage I have, where I have, this is what leads into the scene. So if you're just doing a regular thing, you want to start a scene to do something else, wherever you are in your quest, if you're just trying to create this scene, I have, is this the place? And then she will say, it is. Thank you for coming with me. Give me a few moments, please, and make sure wild animals don't attack me from behind. Now I have this set up because this is stage 20 of the quest, so it can only be said then. That way you don't have to put an area for it to say it in. That way you only say it when you're at stage 20. And that trigger box I showed you in the render window was what pushed it to stage 20. Again, I'm getting off track because that has nothing to do with the scene that we're creating. We have it at Gallus. So in here, I use trending scene, and I just put a semicolon. I create it, I rename the script, which goes into here once you're done. Rename script, renamed it here. So once that's done, once all that's done, you got to close this back out when you first create your script and open it back up. Because when you close it back out, it creates the script to put into the data file. You can't add properties until that happens. Then you get back into here and go to edit properties. So add a property. When you add this property, you're going to want this to change to scenes or scene. So create that, rename it. On mine, I named it, as you can see, just trench. So that I put it to the scene that was created, which was the SSS TLO trench, and click OK. And then, so find the scene, click OK in here when it says trench, and then find the scene that you want to start. This is the important thing, is what you named it here. It's why I always name it a smaller word. It's easier to put the code in. Click OK and come out of there. And then once that is set up, you see the name was trench. You hit the word, whatever you named it, trench dot start, and close it out. Hit compile. Click OK. And we're back out of here. Now we want to create one other thing. So the other thing that's going to happen is we want the dialogue for the Fourth Street package. That's going to happen after the scene. I'm going to show you how to push the stage forward when the scene ends. So from here, you see her say, don't say anything yet, just kiss me. And this goes to a different thing that I created. At some point, I'll show you guys how to create how to kiss and not undress the NPC. At this point, I'm just doing the idle scene. So from there, we have, this will be the Fourth Street. Then it will set stage from there. But let's say you wanted, when they force greet you, when the dialogue's on, they wanted to give you a sword, give you a loaf of bread. Maybe you had the idol as the cooking oven. They went to the oven, cooked bread for you, brought it to you. Then in here, it's going to be a line of code. Like this. So if I set a property for gold, and I wanted, like right now, if I set that in, I haven't set a property yet, but if I set a property, I've shown people how to do this. I can do a quick tutorial. If someone needs it, leave it in the comments that you like a tutorial how to receive an item or remove an item from the player. I've done it in other tutorials, but I can do a quick tutorial to show just how to do that. Again, we're just doing this scene. So I have this scene. She's going to walk out. She's going to kiss you. Now, what I did was I created, again, if you want a tutorial on how to activate a kiss or something sexual through Sex Lab, let me know and I'll create a tutorial for this. This is just for this scene, to work, to use an idol, and then go to a Fourth Street after that. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go back to, you might as well save your work at any point. If it's getting complicated, it seems like you've done a lot, always save your work. And I always recommend to pull a copy of the ESP file out and put it in a different folder. That way, if you screw something up, that you can just drop the old ESP file back in. It goes, everything you might, if you possibly screwed something up, it's gone. I do that all the time. I have a folder over here, ESP backup. Copy it out of your data folder and go from there. So, okay, we got that done. Now we're going to go to Quest Alias. We're going to open her alias back up. A lot of this can be difficult because you can't follow me with everything I'm doing because I have this in a quest. And if this is going in your own quest, you got to decide which stages you're going to. In here, you're going to create a new package. And I already created it. And I called it the TLO Fourth Street. Now, obviously, it's a Fourth Street package. Now, that dialogue you just created, which we'll go back and look at right now. I'll close this back out. So you go back to the player dialogue, because it's important to remember this. TLO Gellis Kiss. You want to remember that, because that's what that has to be. It has to have something to say to you to be able to go to a force greet. Let's go back out. Let's open the quest back up. Let's open the quest alias back up. Now we're going to go back to that quest alias that we created for the scene. We're down in here. Now in alias package data, create new. And then when that comes up, rename it whatever you want to name it. Mine is, as I said, SSS TLO Force Greet. I always put a prefix of different letters so they're easy to find when I want to find a package, an NPC, a quest, or anything I'm doing. So in here, the topic, what we just talked about, is when you find this. You hit topic and you go over here and you find the topic. You find the topic you created. So TLO Gellis Kiss 01. That's the one I want them to go to. And that leads to another thing that is a kiss. But that leads to the dialogue. That's what they'll say when they turn around. Location. Near package start location. In here on the next one down. Leave that where it is. Leave that. If you want to put it at 150, I'm not sure where it normally starts at. Trigger location is how close usually you get to them before it triggers this package. I set mine to 500. There are certain things in, that's why you see in the scene, I start walking towards her, and as I do, she turns and walks towards me. I want to make sure I'm within that distance, that radius, for her to activate that package. Now, this one, you never change. You never touch any of this. All you do is you go into here, and you change this to play reference. This is when how close she's going to be when she says it. She's going to walk right up to you. Near reference, any cell, and play reference. That's what you want in there. Click OK. Close back out of there. Now I have a couple other things set. You can do them different if you want. No okay, some of these change. You want sandbox while the package is running? No. You want to allow eating? No. No sleeping? No. You don't want them doing anything else. So I put this use preferred path, which is you have to see when you do the when you create a cell. You'll see it in the nav mesh, but you don't have to have that as true. Force greet player if they're on horseback. I set this to true anyways. You don't have to. That's just in case for some reason you were standing on a horse. She'll walk out to you and she'll force greet you there. A lot of the stuff that I normally do, I will set defaults so they just follow the package. Just follow what I want them to do. And that's all you need there. Flags. This all of that can happen. Allow idle chatter. Conditions. This can only happen when we're at stage 30. So when the quest is pushed to stage 30, and you're in that amount of units from the 500 units, this will happen. She will force grade you. I know a lot of this is probably sounding confusing, but you might have to slow the video down. But it's, once you get used to do it, it's actually very simple to do. And close that out. Don't forget to save your work if you're still working on something. So we have our package here. So in here, we're going to close out the alias. We're going to close this out here. And I want to open this back up. Might as well save your work while that was closed out. Quest stages. Now, it was stage 30. We're going to do this on, right? This is all we need. There's nothing needs to be in here. Just the stage 30. When it gets to stage 30, that condition is in the Force Greet package. So now, we're going to go back into scenes. So when the scene runs through and everything is done, from here you have, up top you have edit data at the top. In the edit data, you have this right here. If you put a code here, that means the code fires off at the beginning of the scene. If you put the code here, it fires off at the end. So this one, get on and quest, set stage to 30. Compile, the script is in there, and click OK. Come out of there. So now we have this all set. So in the scene, we haven't got any way to start the scene yet. When the scene runs through, it'll go through and say everything. And from here. And then, it'll go to stage 30. Once the scene ends, it'll go to stage 30. Then in the quest alias, you add the package. The package that was in the scene will stop as soon as the scene is done. So in here, as you can see, that set it to stage 30. So from there, once this hits stage 30, the quest from the scene will stop, and this will take over that's in the alias. And the fourth screen will happen. She'll walk up, and she says, don't say a thing, just kiss me. So there, if you can see the OK button, you hit the OK button. If you can't see the OK button, you highlight where you put the name and you hit enter, and that'll save that. So in here, we're going to go to player dialogue. Now where I have the scene started is right here. So as you can see, this should be stage 20 at that point where it's stage 20 because we're going to move to 30 after the scene. I've already showed you how to then edit properties. We're going to put in this. I already walked you through this. We named it Trench, going through, and then we got this set. So everything's set here now. So this dialogue is the player dialogue at stage 20, Gellis Barkwing, get stage, the quest, stage 20. Thank you for coming with me. Give me a few moments, please, and make sure no wild animals attack me from behind. So this whole thing is done. This one's ready to go. So when I say that dialogue, it'll go to here, fire off the scene, and then everything we just went through. Then it will go through the scene, and as it goes through the scene and gets to the end, the scene ends, and we put the code into the end of the scene that changes it to stage 30. When stage 30 hits, that's when this kicks in. A four screen package is very touchy. A big thing is in here. If you change this one here, it's probably not going to work. But the four screen will come to you, say what it does, and in this one here, it matters. A lot of people say, well, this one ain't working. You have to be within this radius. 500 units. I don't even know what a unit is in the game. I don't think it's feet. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a measurement for it. I'm not really going to get into that. But I changed mine to 500, and you can see in the scene about how close it is when she turns and starts walking to me. That means I was in the radius, and that kicked in. Here we can click OK back out of here. Click OK. Save your progress, and let's go into game. You've already seen it. You've already seen it go at the beginning of the game. I hope this helps you with any issues you're having with scenes and idle markers. I know I had told a friend of mine that you just use idle marker package, but that was from work. I wasn't here to look at it. Finally, I looked at it when it said it wasn't working, and this is the issue. So again, an idle marker can be an idle marker like you saw me put down. It can be a forge of any type. You know what? We'll go into here, and I'll show you. We'll go back into here, and I'll show you what I mean by anything else. Because if we go into interiors, if I type in here, Markarth, and then from here, let me open up the Understone Keep. So I know there's a forge inside there, but we'll go through, we'll scan through here so you can see what I'm talking about. Make this a little bigger so it looks a little better on the screen. So if we scan through and we look at everything in here, this place is pretty big, so it's going to take me a second. Oop, I come out of the cell. So there you go. This here on the wall is an idle marker. They stand out in the render window. There's another idle marker. So as you can see in here, any tables, this, when you double click, that same thing when you double click, where you're going to put it in, the idle marker. That's what this is the idle marker. A table is an idle marker. There are, whether it's a forge, you're going to look for this. Looking on a forge, it'll probably show them kind of sitting down, even though they might not be. Whether it's a cooking station, no matter what it is, they're idle markers. Anything that shows this is a type of idle marker. Or this over here, another idle marker. This one here is just a patrol idle marker, which means they will walk to this and stop. There are so many idle markers in there that you can use, that you can choose. You just saw the one I used to create that scene. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I hope this helped you out in what you're looking for.
It is. Thank you for coming with me. Give me a few moments, please, and make sure no wild animals attack me from behind. I told you both I would keep my promise. You're free now. I'll never forget what you both taught me. I'm gonna be okay. I love you. Can I help you with something? Don't say anything yet. Just kiss me.